Now, sorry for the delay. Some technical difficulties here. New digs broadcasting from UCF today, not from the Roto household. So things were a little bit complicated and we're encountering some difficulties. So hopefully people have caught on to this web stream. If not, well, then they'll just have to catch me on the replay. So today we're going to wrap up what we were working on as far as Mixamo characters going into CHOPS and then using that to turn that around and export into UE4. And so what we're going to do is we're going to clean up our digital asset. We're going to play a little bit around with some CHOPS. And then what we're going to do in UE4 is I'm sick and tired of conditioning my assets once we pull them into UE4. And so what I'm going to show you guys how to do is write a script and how to automatically condition your assets when you pull them into UE4, and that will hopefully alleviate some of that wrist strain and uh, eliminate any potential for carpal tunnel. All right, let's get things started with our good old friend, the Mixamo character. I'm going to change windows here. All right. So very good. Okay, we should see this. Okay, do we have this all going? Hopefully we're going to see this. I'm going to wait till it shows back on my screen. Okay, it looks like we're a little bit small. My screen's just a little bit big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink things just a wee bit, just to make sure that we can see everything. We want to make sure that you guys can see everything. I had it all set up at home, but here at UCF, not so much. Things are looking good. All right, now things are not quite over there. All right, so hopefully we're looking good. We're looking good. Okay, so as a recap, what we did last week was we created a CHOP network inside of Houdini. Now, don't forget, what I did was I created a context view in order to look at my CHOPS ahead of time. So I still need to move this over just a wee bit. And so what I need to do is move this over to this mountain here. And then move this guy. Hopefully that should be good enough. Hopefully we should be able to see that. Okay, now, oh yeah, what we did here was we pulled in a file from Mixamo, and it's the zombie run, no skin. And then we looked at that in the context of CHOPS. And what I did was I created 6 graphs here, and we're looking at a single graph per single channel. And thus we're able to look at all of the channels being displayed at one specific time. Now, I do not have the the hips turned up. We're going to do that. We're going to deal with that a little bit later. But the only thing we need to do in order to get this animation out to our rig is this output node here. Now this output node, all this is just showing an export prefix. So this says dot dot slash dot dot, which means move it up to this level and then move it up to the level prior to that. That's what dot dot slash dot dot means. It says export this, and this little export key here exports the animation. And just to know that we are exporting it, if I click on the I button here, we can see a whole bunch of animations going here, and it just goes on and on, 565 more. And it shows what the channel here is and where it's being exported to. And so it's translating this animation over to here. And so we can see this. And how do we know that it's being animated? Well, we can turn on the scene viewer, and then when we hit play, we can see our dummy running around. which is exactly what we would expect to find, but we can tell that it is being overridden by looking at the nulls inside of the Houdini network. Now the nulls actually store the animation while the bones store the actual skinning information. They don't actually store any of the animation. So let's look at the hips. There's the center point of all the animation. And you notice that instead of being green, they are, you see that they're changing, they're orange instead. And because they're orange, that means that they're being overridden by CHOPS. And that means, and so since they're being overridden by CHOPS, that gives the orange color there. And so these nodes are no longer in control and they're being totally driven by CHOPS. We're going to take advantage of that a little bit today. All right, one of the things that we will have to do this because we're dealing with a game character. Remember last week what I did was I put a null on top of the hips and we called that root. And the reason for that is that game engines like to know where our character is at all time. So therefore it creates a root. And so this gives something for the game engine, something to hang on to and to hold on to and love. Isn't that nice? And this anchor here is a little bit of an anchor tool that I created so that we could get our scripts working with it. And so we could use recursion in order to go through and transcend and go down all the entire tree without having to actually, write a whole lot of code. Just a little bit of code does a whole lot of stuff, which is really cool. All right, so one of the things that we are dealing with is that because this is a game character, he's running. And because it's a game character and we have the root node, then we need to take away this guy's animation and make him run in place. We'll say, well, this animation is in there. How do you remove the animation once it's in place? Well, that's one of the beauty parts of CHOPS is that you can go in and edit any of the animation data at any time and then override it, and then once you've overridden it, then you can just export that new information, which is really, really cool. So let's go ahead and go into the CHOP network and play with that. Now notice that we created a node that says only hips. Now I'm going to make sure that I got my context view on here. I'm going to click on only hips. And what we see here is star hips star into the channel name. And what I want is the non-scope channels, meaning that I want it to delete everything but what I have here in the channel name. Now I'm going to change this up a little bit because I actually don't want to deal with the rotation. The rotations are just fine on the hips. I want to deal with just the translation. So in order to kind of like just get those translations, I'm going to change my expression here, my regular expression, to star hips : question mark. No, I think I should say T question mark. Yep. Okay. What this means in regular expressionese, maybe I should give a class on regular expressions. This might be also good. But what they, you will notice that coming into here, all of the channel names, they're called Mixamo rig _8 : and then RX, RY, TX, TY, TZ, you name it, they are named it. But it's this basic formula. Say you've got a prefix, : and then a suffix, and then your suffix are your standard channel names. Now, since we wanted a translation, a question mark means it's a wildcard, but for only one character. So good to know. So it could be anything just with one character. Okay, so we want T, X, T, Y, T, Z, anything. So that's why when we put this as T question mark, then we have 3 channels there. Okay, now suppose that we wanted to get rid of just the Z channel. Now notice that this Z channel is going from, at the beginning, oh, it's got a value of maybe, It's hard to tell, but it's got to be a value close to 0. And then at the end of the sequence, it's got a 2.3, something like that. Now let's see if we just want to get rid of that, but we want to leave the X and the Y channel alone. Okay, what we could do is create another delete chop here. Okay, we've got the delete chop down here, and I'm going to plug that in here, and I'm going to say I want the non-scope channel, and then instead of T star here, I'm going to change that to TZ. Okay, and now I'm going to make sure to turn this off for the display because it'll just start accumulating all the ones and then it'll stack them on top of each other. I'll click into here. So look here, all we have is one channel here, and that's TZ. Now we could have written this just by clicking star, and that's basically the same thing, star colon TZ. That ultimately means the same thing. Okay, so we've got the TZ channel, and I'm going to say, okay, I want TZ here. All right, now what I want to do is ultimately zero out that channel. So I'm going to put a math chop here. And so we've got the math chop in here, and the math chop isn't doing a whole lot. The math chop is just sitting there doing things. But if we go click on the multiply add tab, and then we multiply, and so what we can do is we do a pre-addition, a multiply, and a post-add. I'm going to leave the adds alone, but for the multiply, I'm going to make it 0 because I want it to be multiplied by 0. Okay, now notice that the TZ channel goes back to black. Okay, so we have this is TZ, and I'm going to make a copy of this because this is the TZ channel, and I'm going to make just a copy of this guy. Oops, I didn't want to copy that math. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to say not TZ. So this is not the TZ, and so this is probably just the X and the Y channel. Not TZ, nope, we got to change this to scope channels. And there we have the TX and the TY. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these together so that there are 3 channels again. Okay, so we have now just 3 channels, TX, TY, TZ, and notice that the TZ channel has now been clobbered. It's flattened. There's nothing into it. And what we want to do is ultimately get this information along with it. So we have only hips here, and so we have only the hips. So what we want to do is create a duplicate of just this channel to isolate the hips from this because we want to be able to combine it back in. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to say not hips. Okay, it's not hips, and I'm going to say this to scope channel, and I'm just going to put that bad boy right in there. And so I'm going to put this not hips into the merge here. Now notice that the hips TZ still remains at 0, but now we've got all this other channel information, and so we've got everything is animated exactly as it was. And so here's our output node, and I'm just going to put this merge right into the output node. And then if we take a look over here, if we hit the back and then play, we see that the guy is now running in place. Okay, that's really cool. Now, since we're working with a digital asset, what can we do? Like sometimes we might want the, we have no idea whether, it's going to be the Z-axis that the character is going to be moving on, or the Y-axis, or maybe even the X-axis. So we want to make it optional. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's click that up. All right, good. It's back again. Whew. I thought I would have to go fishing for the animation display. That would not have been fun. Anyway, because I can't remember what it is right now, so I don't have to worry about it right now. Anyway, ha 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 ha. Okay. Now let's go back to my type properties of my digital asset, right click in here, type properties. And so we've got transform subnet, and look, let's see, we've got information on here, demo. Okay, so I am going to get rid of all of this because you're not supposed to see this yet. Okay, accept. Okay. Internal error occurred. I don't know what that internal error was, but we have our transform our subnet. Let's open it up again. I was giving you a sneak preview of what's to come. Now we have our transform node, our subnet node. I'm going to put a folder here that I want just to control my animation. I'm going to label that tab animation. All right, and now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically delete root motion. And so I'm going to create a label right underneath here, and I'm going to call this delete root motion. Okay, I'm going to call this DRM. Okay, for DRM, delete root motion. All right, so we all know what that is, but I want it to just simple to be toggled. So if I want the x-axis, I want the x-axis, I want the z-axis, I want the z-axis, whatever. All right, so I'm going to go over here, I'll grab a toggle, I'll put that right underneath here. I'm going to make sure it's under the animation tab, and I'm just going to type this in here. I'm going to say x-axis, and I'll label this x-axis. Oh, let's just keep this simple. Just x. All right, I've got that, so I'm going to duplicate that twice. Control C, Control V. And for this, I'm going to make this the y-axis. And this is y. And for this is the z-axis. And that's now the z. Okay, I'm going to apply this good. Okay, and then I'm going to accept this because I don't need this anymore. But look at this. Okay. Now, if I click on the animation, oh, look at that. They're all stacked on top of each other. That's not what I wanted. Go pull up the type properties again. Okay, so I have this delete root motion. I want them to be in one line. So I'm going to click X here, and then there's a little tab here. It says horizontally join to the next parameter. If I click that, it makes the Y pull up right next to it rather than underneath it. And if I click this and click that, horizontally join to the next parameter, it's going to make the Z channel right next to the Y rather underneath that. Isn't that nice? I'm going to click that. There it is. Delete root motion, X, Y, and Z. Okay, there we go. Now remember, the way that most character animation works inside of games is that there is no translation after the hip node. Now there's translation in the root node, but typically the game engine controls that. Now the translation in the animation is usually placed at the hip joint. And so this is the only place where we have to worry about the translation. So I'm going to click on the animation, and so we have the stuff set up there for TZ and then not TZ. All right. And so what we could do here is instead of going to this merge, I'm just going to delete this merge altogether. Go into my context view so I don't see anything. I'm going to just delete this because I can't focus on more than one thing at once. And so we have these, and so what I'm going to do is merge these together. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to merge them. I want to switch them. Switch. Okay, so we have, right now we're being pulled from the not TZ, so that means we have TXTY. So what we want to, okay, is that what we want here? Not TZ or TZ. No, that's not what we want here. What I want here is either TZ or TZ is zeroed out. So that's not what I want. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so here we have either TZ or not TZ or not TZ. Okay, I'm going to switch those two. Ah, there we go. So here we have the here we have the original TZ, and it's unmolested. Here it's been molested, and here over in the switch, we're recognizing it. We're choosing to take it from the unmolested version rather than the molested version. Horrible word there, but if I was to move this index over to 1, it flattens out. So that's doing exactly what we want, but we're not pointed to the right thing because the channel reference is no good. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to just change this. I'm going to type CH and then put that in open parentheses, double quotes, and I'm going to use relative pathing again. So dot dot slash dot dot slash, and what did I call this? Z-axis? Okay. We got that hooked up, and if I wasn't sure if the z-axis was the right channel, what I could do, even though this could take a long time, I could use Houdini to kind of help me auto-complete it. And so I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, like where the z might be. Okay, there it is, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So we want z-axis, so we know that's the right one. All right, cool. And so let's just test this. So right now it's being twitched, so that means that the z-axis is, the toggle's turned off. If I go up to this level, if I turn on the z-axis, come back here into animation, and then we see it's switched. So it's switched over, and now it's looking from the unmolested one. All right, so that's cool. So that's working. So all we have to do then is technically, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call it 0TZ. Okay, we're just going to duplicate this 2 other times for the X channel and the Y channel. So I'm going to grab these 3 and hit Alt and then drag. And once here for the X and once there for the Y. So I'm going to relabel these. I'm going to call this TX, 0TX, and then switch. And I think that's good enough. So what we have to do here is change this to TX. And this should be fine. 0TX, that should be great. Change this one to TY. And let's call this one 0TY as well, just to be consistent. TX, 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 TY, 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 TZ, TZ, TZ. Okay, we've got switch, switch, switch. Okay, now I'm just going to, I'm real anal about this. I kind of like, let's merge these together. So I just want to test it to make sure it's working as expected. Okay, and it looks like they're all being zeroed out. Well, that's not cool. It looks like I have the wrong channel reference here in each one of these. So I'm going to click on MathTX and, oh, my switch. Ah, there it is. Look at this. For my X, so I'm going to change this to switch to, I'm going to go switch TX. So I know that I've got the X channel here. All right, yeah, there it goes, back to normal. And let's do the same thing for switch TY. So now I know I've got the TY channel correctly. All right, and then we have the 0TZ, and I'm going to call this switch TZ, so we know they got that working. All right, so we've got those working. So let's go ahead, since we have these merged all together and we have the not hips there. So let's go, and I'm going to, oops, these are going to die, but no, have no fear. I'm going to grab this one, then this one, and this one, and then since I have all 3 of them grabbed, I'm just going to grab one of these, connect it to the merge, and voila, there they all are in nice order. And I'm going to make sure that the export tab is put on that one. Now let's go and see where we go. Okay, there he is. He is now animating with his hips in, his z-axis is locked off. I'm going to go up into the top level. So let's see if we were to go and lock off his Y channel. Yeah, there he is. His hips are right at the origin. So the Y channel is not being translated. Now, if if we turn this off, he looks like a submarine, you know, Austin Powers. Yeah. Okay, I turn that off, and so let's go ahead and turn off. Now his hips, yeah, they're doing a little bit of movement back and forth, but if we turn that off, then you can see his belly button is cemented right to the origin, and so he's not going anywhere. Okay, so there is our clip, and so it is now animating very good. All right, so that's working, and I'm going to make sure to save this. Save this as a demo dummy HDA, and I'm going to change this. It's called FBX. So I'm going to make sure to call this 8_28 because today it's today's date, and I know what it is. And say, okay, now what if we wanted to pull in a whole bunch of animations? You know, it's cool that we've got, you know, the zombie run, but you know, how much do we really can do with a zombie run? Well, let's go see what we've got here. All right. Now, let's suppose, here, I just typed in the word run here. Now, we don't have to use the word run. I mean, we could use any of these, but let's see what all that we could use. What would be good? Okay. Okay, so this looks fun. Run to rolling. All right, that looks fun. And so I'm going to click on that. And that's a good 73 frames long. All right, cool. So I'm going to download that. Okay, FBX without skin, because remember, we don't want these with a skin. We can just do pure animation. 60 frames per second, keyframe reduction, none. Download. Okay, now that is going to my download setting. And okay, I had my eyes set on the anime run. You ever notice that you know, anime runs, people always run with their arms behind them? I don't know why they do that, but you know, anime fans love that. So let's go do the anime run. FBX without scan, 60 frames per second, no reductions. Click download. Okay, so we have 2 extra animations that we're going to deal with here. And so what I'm going to do is copy those over to my clips folder. All right, go to downloads. And we've got run, run to rolling, and then anime run. Okay, run. Okay, we've got here anime run, no skin. Okay, I already renamed that. So let's change this one to run to rolling, no skin. I'm going to rename this. Run to rolling, no skin. No mo skin. Uh-huh. All right, we've got run to rolling and anime run. I'm going to copy these, and then I am going to paste them into my clips folder. Okay, replace that file. I was going to try anime run before as a demo, you know, as a test word, but oh, here's one that's cool. Now for all you, we got to have the drunk run forward. Yeah, we need that one too, I think. And so let's go ahead and download that. We might as well have just fun with this, right? 55 frames long. Okay, sweetness. Okay, downloads, drunk run forward. Let's change the name on that. Okay, get rid of the space on there. I like to get rid of the spaces just because I'm like of old school Unix and we don't like spaces in Unix. No skin. And I'm going to move this over to my project folder for my clips. Okay, where are you? Anytime now. Paste. Computer. Nope. Okay, let's try this again. Drunk run folder. Copy. clips, paste. Okay, there we go. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a file selector inside of our digital asset, so we can choose whatever we want. Instead of just being limited to just playing one clip, we can go and do a whole bunch of clips. All right, so if we can click on the type properties, what we want to do here is I'm going to put this off to the side and make it a little bit smaller because it's kind of big in window. I've got to drop into demo dummy. I'm going to drop into my chops. And here's our file. And so here's our channel file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to put in a separator in for my animation. And then I'm going to drop in the channel file. And I'm just going to grab the channel file. I'm just going to drop it right here in animation. And it's called, okay, and then I'm just going to leave that as is, file, channel file. Click accept. Yes. All right, so right now it will use the zombie run no skin by default. And if we go back up to our interface, then we can see that we can run and we can choose others that will work as well. And I don't know what will happen if we import one with skin, but I guess we're going to find out in a wee bit. Okay, so if that's the case, so let's click on here and let's click on our run no. Let's give ourselves a little bit of room here. Okay, let's go with the drunken run forward no skin. Click that. And he is drunk and he is in place. So let me turn that off so we can visualize it. Okay, there he is. Yep, that's it, all right. So we've got that display thing going on here. And let's click that. Okay, but notice that this is not all the way finished. So let's go into demo dummy, the animation. Let's look at the file clip here. How big is this? Okay, so it is channels, frames. It's got 55 frames in it, from 1 to 56. So how do we know? I'd like to try to know the number of frames on there and just have it reported automatically. So let's find out how to do that. Okay, I'm going to go pull up my type properties, and then I am going to pull up an integer, and I'm going to put it on channel file, put it right underneath there, and it's not yet in it. There it is. And I'm going to say, this is number of frames, and we're going to call this number of frames. Okay, what are we going to look for? First, we have to figure out how big our CHOP data is, or the number of channels. Now, honestly, I don't remember how to do it. And since I did a really, really poor job of preparing for today, we're just going to have to figure this out. So I'm going to click that on here, number of frames. I'm just going to click accept here. And yes, we're going to put this away, and we're going to have to resort to reading the dreaded instructions. And so I'm going to click on Help, Contents. Okay, there we go. Now we have a CHOP node. So I'm going to just type in the word CHOP. And so what I'm going to do is see if I can find the CHOP node inside of, not Vex, not there. We want to see if we can find, there's a CHOP Python class that we want to have access to. CHOP, get CHOP channel value. Let's see. Oh no, this is okay, modules. Okay. H script. Okay, CHOP LS. What does CHOP LS do? List the tracks in okay, that's kind of what we want here, but let's see, that's kind of what we want. That creates a list, and I'm pulling up a goose. Let's say channel. Let's see, is there a thing for channel number, channel size, CH stretch scope RAM reverse rename channel S. CHOP LS. Okay, honestly, I don't know what that is. So, what can we do? Well, what we could do is, so where this is working currently, our digital asset is now working in HScript. Let's see, is there anything in here that is Python? CHOP LS. So let's type in the word CHOP to see if there's anything to give us more of what we want here. So CHOP, get CHOP, attribute, CHOP LS, CHOP scope, CHOP expression, CHOP network. All right. Now, I can't figure out a good way, and my head is just not working real well right now. So because I didn't prepare for this ahead of time, we are kind of stuck. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do this with Python. So I can go to text properties, and so we've got number frames here, and therefore we're going to come over here to channels, and where it says here, we've got this channel right here. So what I want to do is I want to change this over. Instead of using HScript, I want to use a callback script. Oh, it's looks like it's going to let's see, do we want to use the callback script? Well, let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen here. So let's go to the callback script. Let's just see what this works. The callback script, I'm just going to type in, oh golly, what is this? Okay, I'm gonna put this aside real quick. And so I cannot remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a, I'm going to split this up and down, top and bottom, and then I'm going to add Python here, Python shell. And then real quick, I'm going to say, okay, we've got this chop here. I'm going to call this guy chop equals this node right there. All right, so let's see what we can find here with this Python. So if I go just type in print chop and then dot, then let's see, all nodes, and then clip data. So what's clip data? What does that provide? I don't know. Returns the clip data for the chop, and okay, it returns self. It returns a big giant string. So what does that return? Okay, that's not quite the information I was looking for. So print. So let's look up yeah, let's just go to the help window here, go to contents here, and then I'm going to look up for the CHOP class. CHOP expression, vex, no. CHOP class, nodes, classes, the CHOP node. Okay. Okay, here's all its classes, and let's see if we can find something. Sample rate, save clip. Ah, okay, tracks. Okay. Tracks, okay, a tuple of the tracks. And so if that returns the tuple of the tracks, then we can just technically turn on the length of the tracks, right? Okay, so let's try and see what happens here if that actually works. So let me see. Print chop dot tracks. Oh, that's going to tell us the number of tracks, not the number of frames. So that's not going to be right. Print chop dot tracks. So if we want to do the length, so len 585. Nope, that's not quite what I wanted. So pull this up again. Chop expression function. Chop node. Huda parm. Sample range returns the start and end value of the sample range, sample rate, samples to frames, samples to time, save clip, set lock. Okay, set name, parent is locked, color, position, size. Return the size of this item's tile. Is no, okay, from node, okay. Set digits in name, set name path. Return the file path, relative path parent is selected, picked color, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess what we could do is get the track information. So we know where the tracks are, so we can find out the length of a track. Now this is really going about it the really long way, but honestly, I am just pulling this out of my behind. So I'm going to go track node, who.track class. Okay, so we've got a who.track and returns the clip that this node evaluates, evaluate frame, returns the number of samples in this track? No. How about the length? Chop L returns the length of the channels in a chop. Okay, chop length replaces, this replaces all of those. Okay, so clip returns a clip that this track belongs to, returns all the samples. Eval at time, eval at frame range, the num samples, the number of samples in this track. Well, it just never gives what you want. So chop length, is this a expression function? So it's chop L. Well, look at that. This is going to tell me right of this. So we don't have to do any of this. Let's go check it out. We've got this chop L. This is what happens when you look into this. Okay, so let's just type in chop L. All right, so if I go up and pull up my here, and I click onto this, my demo properties, and it's over here. All right, so a number of frames in my channel, if I just type in here, chop L, that gives us the chop length. And so what we want is, where's my path? And so I have /animation / and my channel name is file1. If I click OK, now we come back up here, and we see that it's 111 frames. So we'll set this to 111 frames. So it's lying chop length. Oh, I know what I did. Okay, remember this is at 60 frames a second. And so therefore we have to divide by 2 because it's expecting at 30 frames a second. And that's just what the typical normal thing is. So let's change that. So 0.5 times chop L. Okay, yeah, so there it is, 56 frames. So now if we change this to 56. Okay, so that is one full cycle. All right, cool. Now, what would happen if we change this over to our Ninja run, our anime run? Anime run, no skin, except there it is, and it should be 20 frames wrong, so I'm going to change this to 20. Okay, so there it is. So this works automatically. All right, now I was going to go ahead and, well, no, let's not even bother going there. So let's go ahead and export these two clips here, these two extra clips. So they're running in place. So let's go ahead and export these through to this. So I'm going to double click into here. I'm going to go VAT. All right, frame range. Okay, so let's key the frame range to our the number of frames. And oh, what did I call that? So this is number of frames. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put CH and then put this in double quotes and go // animation. No, I think this is, or is this number of frames? LMN. So we got to go all the way to the bottom. Number of frames. Yep, there it is. Okay, so this will get the number of frames. And so let's so we have demo dummy zombie, and there we have this component. We got to change the name of this, and we want it to reflect the name of whatever the clip that we have here. Okay, I wasn't quite expecting this. This will require a little bit more complicated Python than I expected. So we're going to do this the easy way without Python, regretfully. Okay, let's see if we can actually get by and do this. Let's see if I remember my H script well enough. Let's try this. So I'm going to go up 2 levels, pull open my type properties, and then I'm going to call the output name, and then I'm going to create a new string, and then I am going to call this string, let's call this VAT export. So I'm going to call it all lowercase VAT export. And I'm going to call it the VAT export name. Okay, VAT export name. Click OK. VAT export. Okay, I'm going to let that hunt. Okay, and we have the VAT export name. And then for this, Well, I'm going to call this anime run. Anime run. And then let's double click onto here. And oops, we wanted to go modify our VAT network. All right, so we got SOP path dummy out. No, that all stays the same. So let's say a CHS, and this goes to dot dot slash dot dot slash VAT export. Yeah, that's it. All right, and now let's see if I remember how to do this. So if we're going to do this with a H script and expression, so we want to do forward, and then we say CHS, and we want all this stuff. Let's see if this works. Okay, expression, toggle expression, expression, edit expression, accept, and I don't think this is going to work. Okay, so let's see if we edit the expression again. Well, will this work if I put this in quotes? Apply unable to evaluate expression. Unable to evaluate, it doesn't like these quotes. Unable to evaluate expression. Okay. And try this. Okay, this did something. It didn't puke. And there it is. TechArt.edu Houdini secrets, Mixamo CHOPS, export, anime run. Okay. Well, that is it. We figured it out, gang. So congratulations. All right. So before we go do anything, I'm going to save this. All right, cool. And oh, look at that. We need to have an export button for our anime thing. Okay, one other thing. All right, so we've got this. So let's go and expose that button for the VAT. Okay, for render here, this is all we need. So we're going to go and drag this over here from the render and put it right underneath here. And that's what we want. And then we're going to go, okay, that output. Click accept. All right. Click here, VAT output. And is anything happening? I don't see anything happening. Did anything actually happen? It's hard to tell. So let's go and see if what happened actually pulled it in. So if we have export here, anime run, meshes. Oh, we got the mesh, and it didn't export anything. Daggone it. What the hell happened here? Okay, we got an error. What is the error here? Emerald rendering, very good error. It says we don't know what's wrong with this. Error rendering demo set, render mesh FBX. Okay. VAT export component. Okay. let's see, does this need to be a forward? Anime run? Yep, maybe. Is that the reason why this is not working? Oh, there it goes. Here it is, gang. So did this actually export? Anime run, and then we have our textures. Oh, there we go. Hey, we are good to go. All right, so we are styling. Okay, all we have to do now, folks, is pull together and get this into UE4. And regretfully, I have bad news. And the bad news is that I forgot to copy over the UE4 script for this. Now we've been working on this for just about an hour, and time is getting kind of long here, and it's probably going to take me about an hour more to explain how to write this script. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to defer the rest of this lecture onto next Friday, and we're going to get that going on next Friday. And well, you know what? I might be out of town this Friday. We just might have to do this. Okay, change of pace again. We're going to do this again today. So what I'm going to do is pull up my UE4 project. And it's going to be a different project than what we were working on before because that's on a different machine. Isn't that fun? Okay, so let's pull up a good project that we should be able to work on here. And so I'm going to go through this whole process again of how to pull in how to set up the materials and the shaders and so forth. Okay, we're waiting on UE4 to pull up. Come on, UE4. We are waiting for you. It's coming. It's coming. Okay, so we have our UE4 in our content browser, and then, okay, we've got VAT stuff already, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because this is not what we exactly want, so I'm going to delete. And so what's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go get our Houdini, and we are going to get our VAT network. So I'm going to change my interface over that into being normal. Come over here, go to sample shader code, and we want copy and copy soft material. Okay. And then we're going to move this over here, and then I'm going to create a material function. And then I'm going to call this, we're going to call this VAT underscore MF. So actually, let's call this VAT Mixamo, because we're using this for Mixamo characters. Mixamo MF. Put that up there. Get rid of my output result. Yes. Expose to library. We want that. And I'll hit Control V. All right, Houdini, don't be bashful. You're holding out on me. So copy soft material function. Hit Control V for pasting, and there it is. All right, there we go. Okay, once again, it says make sure tangent normal space is off and you have 5 custom UV spaces. All right, then. Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we got that. So we've got that. So let's create a material function, just a material. I'll call this VAT Mixamo underscore M. So we've got the M. Got to double click into that. And then we have there. And then what does it say? We got to make sure that the tangent space normal is turned off. And then make sure that custom UVs is there are 5 or there are 4. Oh well, better be safe than sorry. Okay, we got that. All right, cool. Now what we have to do is turn off the what is it? We have the what we're doing, if we call this VAT, that fluid, rigid, soft, sprite. Oh, look at that. Side Effects has created these for us ahead of time. Oh, wow, look at that. They created this for so we don't have to. Oh, well. Too late. Okay, I'm going to move my color over to the base color. I'm going to move my normal over to normal. I'm going to use my position offset onto that. And we got custom UV1, custom UV2, custom UV3, and custom UV4. Okay. We want to continue. Yes. We want to continue even though we have errors. Oh, before I do anything, I want to make sure I got a scalar. So I got a parameter scalar, parameter, a vector parameter. No, I want a scalar parameter, and I want my speed. Okay, so we were pulling in texture objects. So I wonder if we can pull in texture object parameters. I was wondering today as I was taking a leak. So I go parameters. So we got texture object parameter. So what we need is 3 of those. So let's go, this is for position. Hook that up to there. And we need one for this is normal. And we're going to need one for color map. Okay. Pull that down there. We want one for color. And this is switched color. All right. Now we got that color and we got no errors and it is all ready to go, I would think. Okay. Now I remember that also we are going to just grab a texture color from that because we have the texture color from the character. So let's go ahead and just do a texture, another texture parameter. And for the texture parameter 2D, and then we're going to go car diffuse, character diffuse. All right, and then we're going to put that into there. Okay, now we're going to save. And now let's pull in our character along with our texture maps and so forth. And just to make sure that everything is copacetic. Make sure that we got everything working and all. Okay, we got that. So let's go ahead and import into that. And so we go to here, check our edu, Houdini secrets. We go to export, and this is the anime run. And for the meshes, anime mesh run, open. Go import all. Come on, don't be bashful. All right, it imported in our character, and we got our texture map and everything, and it pulled in our character. So let's pull in our character here and then make sure that it is his LOD settings are nice and big. So let's, oh yeah, the high, we want to turn on the We want to turn on his high UV coordinates. So UV, full precision UVs. We want that. Yes, we do. Click on save. And then save. And then click that again. So we want to change this. So say yes. And then we have to save this again. I don't know why UE4 does it that way, but that's the way they do it. Okay, so if you've got that going, so let's go ahead and we have that default material. We're just going to leave that. And so here's our texture. And we're just going to leave that as is for this. I didn't need to open that. And I'm just going to right click there and hit save. All right, cool. So let's go pull in the texture maps. Okay, export. And then we're going to call in the anime run textures. We're going to pull these three in. Okay, so we have all those three. Now, what we typically have to do, and this is what the rest of today's lecture is going to be about, is fixing this so we don't have to pull in all these textures and then do exactly what I'm going to do about to do now. I'm going to click each one of these, come over here to the compression settings, change the vector to displacement, and then for the filter, change it over to nearest, and then hit save. This is a real pain in the butt. And I'm going to do this again for the normal map. And the filter, nearest, save. And we're going to do this for the anime run. Compression, vector, filter, nearest, save. All right, so let's create a material instance of our material here. So right click on that, material instance. And we're going to call this Mixamo. Instead of calling it M, we're going to call it Mixamo. We're going to call it anime run underscore MI. Okay, there's all of our parameters. So a character diffuse, there's our color map, our position, and we are missing our normal map. So one more thing I have to worry about. Okay, so let's go and find out what's wrong with this. So here we go here. Where's my normal map? Okay, normal L, param checks 2D. Why aren't you here? So I'm going to just duplicate this and then put normal here. Normal, put this and that. And so click save. And let's see if UE4 is going to be smart enough to pick this up for us. Nope, doesn't look like it. So I'm going to get rid of that. And so let's go into anime run, MI. And we are still missing the normal value. Well, this is never going to work without the normal values. So what's going on here? So the normal map 2Ds, color, position, and character diffuse. So what is going on here? So let's go pull this in here. I want a parameter. So let's pull in a texture object parameter. Call this normal. And put that into normal map. All right. Now this should go. So click on. All right, so hit save. Saving package. Come on, we don't have all day. All right, so I get rid of our material instance. There, okay, so I'm going to just delete this, and see what happens here. I want to create a new material instance. That, okay, I'm going to anime run, material instance, and it's still not there. Ah, normalize data. It is still not there. Ah, it's driving me crazy. It's making me nutso. Why aren't you here? Position color. For giggles, let's just see what happens here if we just create a new one. Just for giggles here. Parameter, we have a texture object parameter, and we're going to call it foobar. Okay, everyone, we all know foobar is that we're going to put this one in for the position texture and just see what happens here. Does it pick up foobar? Because maybe it's just picking on me because of normal. Maybe I did something. I pressed a key that I wasn't supposed to or something. Now let's pull this in. Character diffuse. Now this is really perplexing me. It just refuses to show up. It's like, oh, we're only going to give you 3 texture parameters. And we're only going to use that. Okay, so let's just test to make sure that it is working here. So we're going to come over here. It accepts this as this, so that's fine. So let's see what happens if we just get rid of this normal and put this in here for the normal value. All right, so it doesn't like that either. So let's character diffuse, put it into the normal map, and it is not working at all. Something is not going on. Someone's playing tricks on me. So normal works there on the normal map. Oh, I know why. It's because it needs to be a, oh no, it shouldn't matter. Let's see, that shouldn't matter. And a normal map, and so this, character diffuse, param texture object. Oh wait, this is it's a wrong type. So this needs to be a texture object. Param texture object. Texture object like this. And then we're going to name this character normal. And then just for giggles, I'll put foobar in base color. Okay, we don't like foobar, do we? No. Because foobar is a different type. It's a texture sample parameter. So that's why it wasn't talking before. Change that to diffuse. Now save. Okay, and now, how is this going to work? Let's delete this. Delete. And now let's create a new material instance. And let's take that as is. And color. It just does not like that third. Okay, I am at my wit's end. I am going to get rid of both of these. Okay, screw you. I kill you all. All right, I'm going to create a brand new material. And I'll call this Mixamo. Okay, vat underscore Mixamo underscore material. All right. And now this one has this one needs the normals. Tangent space normals, turn that off. And then for the custom, we want 5 of these. Okay, and then we have the vat function. Mixamo this. All right, then we go. We're going to use color. We're going to go with custom UV1, custom UV2, custom UV3 to here, and custom UV4. Okay, we're going to go to the normal, and we're going to go to the position. All right, and now let's move this over to a scalar parameter. And we're going to call this one speed. Okay, we're going to get a texture object. Texture object parameter. Texture object parameter. Okay. And this one's going to be pause. Okay, this is going to be norm. And this one's going to be color. Okay, no, pause, norm, col. And then for here, we just want a regular texture 2D parameter. And I'm going to call this diffuse. Diff. All right. Base color. Save. So creating vat in speed here. So we're going to right click here, click material instance. Look at that. It is like gone. All right. So this is like totally frustrating. I do not know what is going on here, gang. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, screw this. The show must go on. So therefore, we have the color, texture sample. We have the norm. Turn that into a texture sample. And then we have the anime run, the position. Texture sample. All right, we're going to get rid of these. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to convert these to texture parameters. All right, this one's to position. This one's to normal. And this one's to color map. Okay, we're not even going to dork around with this. Save. I can't believe we spent this much time dealing with this. Ah, the joys of production. All right, so we have that. So let's pull up our material instance. And we have the diff. And so this one is the anime run. Anime run color, normal. What's this called? It's called VAT. What is this called? This is called the demo dummy diffuse. Okay. This is the diffuse. Demo dummy diffuse. Okay. Now the number of frames, the position min, position max, pack normal, and speed. All right, so we're going to get all that from Houdini. All right, so it is 19 frames long. And my position min is this. And my position max is this. And I'm going to turn off pack normals. And then for the speed, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we've got all that working. Hit save. All right, and now let's drop our character in here. And then we apply our material to him. There he is, anime running. All right, now I realize that this video is going very long and I keep on encountering problem after problem. So what I'm going to do, gang, is I am going to terminate this broadcast right now, and then I'm going to create a video and I'm going to publish this video on YouTube, and this video tube will just be a standalone, and it will just show you guys or gals and how to create a conditioner inside of UE4 here. It'll probably take me about 45 minutes to go through, so that's why I don't want to continue this any longer, because this has gone way too long as it is, and we're way too long. I'm really self-conscious about this. So look forward. I'm going to terminate this Houdini episode right here. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me out, Chris Rhoda, on LinkedIn and on check it out on LinkedIn and on other web devices. And then keep an eye open for any kind of broadcast for the next video that explains how to create a conditioner for this, because this conditioner is really, really cool, but we spend too much time today just monkeying around and doing stuff that we shouldn't have. So thank you very much for your patience, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.